This is North Gaza, or perhaps more accurately, this was North Gaza.
You know, usually when people say the writing is on the wall, they mean something subtle, like a hint.
Right. This isn't a hint. This is giant neon letters screaming, "System failure," while the building burns down.
Welcome back to Crystal Ball. Today is a special deep dive. We are looking at exactly 11 points of total systemic failure in Israel. We're talking the military, the economy, the courts, the psyche. It's all imploding.
It's bad, Ethan.
Let's start with point number 1, the military, because you cannot run an occupation if nobody clocks in.
Exactly. Investigative reporting from Plus 972 magazine and wire reports from Reuters have exposed a massive refusal crisis. They estimate that over 100,000 reservists have effectively stopped showing up.
And Reuters reported that burnout is so high, the army is panic whispering numbers to the government. The refusal rate is staggering. It turns out having a moral core and refusing to be a monster is actually infectious.
Who knew? And that brings us to point 2, the money.
Yeah, the fiscal situation is in free fall. Fitch Ratings, the official credit rating agency, downgraded Israel's credit rating. They explicitly projected the central government deficit hitting 7.8% of GDP in 2024.
For context, it was 4.1% the year before. Fitch is basically telling investors, do not put your money here.
Which leads to point 3, the businesses are vanishing. Kofax BDI, a major risk management firm, along with the Hebrew newspaper Mariv, reported that 46,000 businesses had shut down by July.
And Kofax BDI projected that number to hit 60,000 by the end of 2024. If you extrapolate that trend into 2025, you are looking at a graveyard of storefronts.
Zero tourism plus a fleeing workforce equals economic ghost town. And point 4, the special relationship with the U.S. is on the rocks.
Big time. The Guardian and Reuters have been reporting on Trump's major pivot towards Saudi Arabia. The U.S. is cutting deals that don't even center Israel anymore.
Yeah, The Guardian noted that the U.S. used to guarantee Israel's military superiority. Now, Trump is cozying up to Riyadh while the Houthis are taking potshots at Israeli ships.
It's a total strategic shift. And point 5, even the EU is waking up.
And the EU usually has the courage of a fainting goat.
True, but the European Parliament and Reuters confirmed that the EU has launched a formal review of the EU-Israel Association Agreement. The Netherlands is pushing hard to re-examine billions in trade because of the humanitarian situation.
Which brings us to the legal hammer. Point 6, the genocide case.
You can't ignore this. The ICJ, the International Court of Justice, is processing the case filed by South Africa. They didn't just send a tweet. They filed a massive legal application accusing Israel of breaching the Genocide Convention.
And right on its heels is point 7, the arrest warrants.
The ICC issued actual arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant. Reuters covered it extensively. This isn't symbolic. These are warrants for alleged war crimes.
Meaning they can't travel to half the world without risking handcuffs. And that isolation leads to point 8. The people are leaving.
In droves. The Times of Israel, citing the Population and Immigration Authority, reported that over 550,000 Israelis left and didn't return during the first 6 months of the war alone.
That is a massive chunk of the population, and it's the startup nation crowd, the engineers, the doctors. When they leave, the tax base collapses.
Exactly. And why are they leaving? Because of point 9. The world hates what is happening. Pew Research Center released data showing that favorability towards Israel has dropped off a cliff globally.
Pew found that over half of U.S. adults now have an unfavorable view, and Time magazine reported a drop in favorability in 42 out of 43 countries polled. The brand is toxic.
Which is hitting them where it hurts. Point 10, the boycott.
The Edelman Trust Barometer, a huge global survey, found that 1 in 3 people globally are boycotting brands over the war.
1 in 3. That is Massive. Companies like McDonald's and Starbucks are seeing real sales dips because people are voting with their wallets.
Which brings us to the final nail in the coffin. Point 11, psychological collapse.
This is the big one. Experts like political economist Sheer Haver, as reported in Plus 972 magazine, describe a total social and psychological collapse. The society has lost its connection with reality.
There's no doctrine left, just a crumbling economy, a refusing army, and a world that has seen too much. The check is finally coming due.
And it is going to be a very expensive bill.
And that's the whole picture, or at least the part they don't want to talk about on TV.
So tell us what you make of this mess. Agree? Disagree? Think we missed a point? Say it in the comments.
And hey, if you're into analysis that isn't sponsored by billionaires or government talking points, you know what to do. Hit subscribe.
Catch you next time.